Is it hard to access affordable, healthy food? Then listen carefully. Daryl Addison, an African-American inventor, has patented a process for growing food on demand. He called it Torpedo Pot. Torpedo Pot is a fully automated flower pot that gives you control over your plant's environment. All you do is add soil, seeds, and plants to the flower pot and watch it grow. Yes, Torpedo Pot grows the rest. Visit www.torpedopot.com.
We got one of our sisters here, from the African continent. She's going to, go through 10 places where, the slave trade happened on the African continent. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Here are the top African places that were involved in slave trade. Number 1, the Kingdom of Dahomey, which is now modern-day Benin. Number 2, Morocco, which is still Morocco. Number 3, Ottoman Algeria, which is now Algeria. 4, Egypt. 5, Kanem Bornu, which is modern-day Cameroon. 6, the Kingdom of Alada, which is now modern-day Southern Benin. 7, Aro Confederacy, which is now modern-day southeastern Nigeria. 8, Ashanti Empire, modern-day Ghana. 9, the Shanghai Empire, modern-day Western Africa. And finally, Mali Empire, modern-day Mali.
If you listen to my podcast channel, Phillip Scott Audio Experience, I had made a podcast about a particular professor, at Carnegie Mellon University. And, it was about her use of the word akata. Now, if you didn't, hear that, then go ahead on and go check that out. If you have not subscribed to the Phillip Scott Audio Experience, it's our podcast channel. And you can keep up what we do over there. It's a little bit more longer form content. But, I talked about, they were certain, tribes and areas that were involved in the slave trade. In the video, I was speaking about how, in Ghana, you have like Elmina Castle, how they charge, foreigners more money to go there than the people that actually live there, which we don't do that here in America. I've talked about that. We don't do that. If anybody come visit America, we don't say, oh, you're a foreigner? Oh, okay, let me charge you $2 more than an American citizen. We don't do that. We treat everybody the same, right? And, that is something I said, and I repeat that again, that is offensive. Why are you charging, quote unquote foreigners? If anybody, you shouldn't be charging, no extra money to it. It's supposed to be the, brothers and sisters that is coming over there, right? And now some people love Ghana and they have relocated. Some of them have opened businesses. We know about the year of return, but like I said about the year of return, the only disappointing thing that I said about it, it was mostly a tourist thing. It was not a true year of return, because a true year of return would be meaning citizenship, or at least permanent residency that can lead to citizenship. You understand what I'm saying? And that did not happen. It's kind of like playing on, our, history and trying to bring us for a tourism thing. Listen, tourism, I'm cool with tourism. I have no problem with tourism, but don't wrap it up into the history that we have. And then we know that some of the slave trade did happen in that area, just like you heard about Nigeria, just like you heard about the areas of Mali, some areas in Cameroon, definitely Morocco, which we saw what happened recently in Morocco to African immigrants that tried to come through there, and how they were just gaffing them up and taking them on out of here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and they were just doing it very violently. Parts of Egypt, we know that too. So what I'm saying is that history is there, and some people act like, oh, I didn't know nothing about the slave trade. Oh no, you know about it. And I've talked about this before. In order to make that right with the diaspora, and not everybody came to America either, because the majority actually of the slaves went to Latin America. They actually didn't come to the U.S. or even went to Canada like that. They actually went more to Latin America. There's more black people in Latin America than they do in the U.S. That's for sure. Of course, some of them were dropped off in the Caribbean. But I always said that if you want to make things right and have a healing, I think it's more on West Africa to do that than any other part of the continent of Africa, since, you have a legacy of that. Now, I know some of the tribes had made apologies, and that's fine. But in order to make it right, the governments have to make it right. Now, some people may say, well, we don't really can do that because of infrastructure. Well, you looked at the history of black people in America. We built and innovated America. So if you give the opportunity and say, hey, what can we build? You think black people wouldn't want to go build, in those countries? If they have a place to go, if they say, hey, this is my, passport and I could be here and I can build a home here and just build, with the people. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're not seeing. And that's what, believe it or not, some of the anger kind of, reside at, because you have full-fledged African nations. We're talking about West African nations, that definitely some of them, they say was involved. Now, they wasn't involved today, of course, in 2022, but you can do something today. It's really no excuse. No, you didn't have nothing to do with it, but you can do something about it. Reach out. Like I said before, the first time I went to the African continent, it was Ethiopia that reached out to me. People from Ethiopia, talking to the consulate, in LA to getting everything set up for me to go to Ethiopia. You understand? I'm not an Ethiopian. Clearly, you can see I'm not Ethiopian, but yet they welcomed me. They told me, welcome home. And I remember at the airport, I told them brothers in Mekelle, I was, from America, and them brothers, gave me a hug. It kind of threw me off, that they did that. But I'm like, man, and when they gave me a hug, I felt it was genuine. I didn't feel like no finessing or nothing like that. And I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, I almost cried. I held it back though. Me, I'm a G, I gotta hold it back. But but I almost cried because I actually felt welcome. You know what I'm saying? I actually felt like I belong there. Because in America, I don't feel that like I feel there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, man, I feel like I've been there before. That kind of feeling like, man, and then I kind of got upset because I'm like, all these years, I didn't even know about any of this. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't educated enough in this. Nobody really told me about going over there. And if it wasn't been for Ethiopia, I wouldn't even change the trajectory and the journey that I have been on now. And so I'm always going to be definitely appreciative to the, Ethiopian, country for sure. I hate to see, some things that's going on right now, in the Tigray region. I hate that because those people treated me lovely in the Tigray region. It was beautiful how they treated me. And so I just hate to see what's going on over there now. I would pray that they can get all that together, be at peace with each other and get back to where it was like when I went. It was just beautiful. It really was. But in order for us to heal, because I recently heard the Ghanaian president talking about reparations, for the African continent and reparations for Ghana. And I'm like, bruh, even though it is a discussion, y'all have your own nation, man. Y'all have your own flag. Y'all have your own everything. Well, all of a sudden, when we talk about reparations, now all of a sudden, y'all talking about reparations for y'all. Like, y'all got more reparations in the ground than anything. That's where the reparations is at. The reparations and the resources. What is a European nation? What the UK going to give you because y'all colonized by them? What the UK going to give you that you already have in the ground? You got more in the ground than the UK can ever give you. We talk about reparations here in America because that is a debt owed. But West Africa, and I'm not talking about Liberia, but the countries like this sister was mentioning, they the one, should be, reaching out a lot more and saying, hey, what could we do? Like say to mend that. We can't do nothing about the past, but we can do something about today. Now, when I talked about this before, one comment say, man, Phil, we ain't got to beg them. It's not about begging nobody to do anything. It's just putting the conversation out there, because sometimes until you say it, some people may not be thinking about it, because some people say, well, I didn't really know they felt that way. Maybe we can look into something. And not everybody going to go over there. And I understand that. And I told y'all before, if it's not for you, stay yourself here. Don't go nowhere. Do what you think you need to do here. It's not for everybody. I said, but for those people that want to do that or thinking about that, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I brought that up. Now, I say once again, I loved, our recent trip to South Africa. I feel a strong connection with my brothers and sisters in South Africa, because I feel we have like the same story, and it was just easy to click in, there in many ways. South Africa is definitely on my radar for my second address, as I told y'all before. But West Africa, if y'all really want to have a true year of return, then you got to give the children, the descendants of the children that left, right? You got to give them citizenship. If you don't give them citizenship, it's just tourism. And listen, if someone want to do tourism, that's fine, but don't wrap it in our history. That's the only thing I'm saying. But y'all let me know in the comments y'all think about, this situation. It's good to know the history. It is great to know. But what are we going to do in 2022 to make that right? That's how I'm looking at things, all the way around. Join PCTechForum.net is a new site. It's a way we'll be discussing everything related to tech news. They'll be discussing the latest processors, graphic cards, laptops, hard drives, computer cases. They also have a section for pre-built PCs and custom-built PCs, and also a PC straight from the manufacturer. They also be discussing the operating systems and how to troubleshoot them. And said, last but not least, they'll also be discussing the latest games and business. The site is brand new, so people will join for the first time on there. So come and sign up today at PCTechForum.net.